We know what they like to do. We realize the rotations are great. So what we need to do is copy them and pretty much try to capitalize when we have the opportunity to do so. So you got to give massive props to that qualifier team. But it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the grand finals of the Week 9 Legion Sunday Showdown powered by Lenovo Legion. It is the defending champions of Dtrix and Rush facing off against the qualifier #1 runner-up team and Piyushx and Kylixx. Oh, my gosh, I'm hyped.
Yep.
I got my Grubhub. I got my tacos in my system. I'm going to be eating it secretly throughout the rest of this game, so hopefully producer can mute me when I need it to happen.
I'll carry it through.
Take it away. Where are we landing off the start for game #1?
You already know Dtrix and Rush. They love their Dusty Divot. This is the area they've been consistently going throughout the tournament, and they are rocking it so far, skipping that purple bolt and going for the RPG. Not a bad strategy. Maybe they'll run into somebody and get blown up. You never know. But for the most part, everything is going to be quiet. We'll have these two perspectives throughout the finals. We'll get to see exactly what they're going to be up to and what they are going to be doing. But their typical rotation out of it has, in fact, been over towards Salty, and then from there they really just kind of mix it up just a little bit. Not too really strong of an inventory, but nobody's going to be here either. So all is going to be quiet until maybe a team kind of floats in there from Dusty Diner. Not too sure. But for the most part, they're in their comfort zone, and they've got to be feeling good.
Land Dusty Divot, right? You have the opportunity to go to 2 different locations, which would be Salty Springs and Retail Row.
Right.
You know what? That kind of formation reminds me of a triangle.
Okay.
You know where I'm going with that?
I'm going with Landon Triangle.
The landing triangle.
The Landon Triangle.
The Landon Triangle. I made this up a long time ago. So for those who try to take it away from me, not the case.
I don't think anybody's trying to take it from you, Landon.
It's probably true. However, I will hold on to that as long as I live. The landing triangle was a very common strategy. You have 3 different main POIs to visit in a short amount of time. It's a great strat. I love to see players continue to implement it. Nice moment from Rush, as it looks like he will take down 2 inside of the diner.
Inside. Sounds like
as looks like he gets a 2-for-1 special in that particular situation, but 3 in total, and leading the slaying load right now for his team.
This is one of my favorite spots to land, and I'm really happy that they're kind of implementing it as well, because I'm getting some intel as to what I can improve on myself. Usually you find at least one team here or down in the Dusty Divot, but for the most part, it's usually easy competition. You kind of run through it, but as I say that, he is going to get tagged up a lot. He's going to go down. His teammate not going to be there. Oh, no. And he's going to get eliminated, and now it's only going to be up to Dtrix, and he's going to have to carry his teammate. And this is going to be our POV for the rest of the game. Dtrix is he's going to have to rock it. Currently in a 1v2 for the rest of it early in the game.
Rocket.
And
sorry, there was a rocket on the ground. I just thought that was funny.
You know what's so unfortunate about this is it's so early in the game.
Oh,
and I was just talking about it too, about how the competition here is usually very easy to take. And then as soon as I say that, I give them the caster curse, and of course Rush is going to get dropped. So I apologize for that if I had any doing for that. But I can't be so selfish as to say it was all my part. Landon, you're also a caster too, so maybe you had something to do with it too. You know?
Hey, I'll take full responsibility. All that matters is that I feel great because I just ate so fast, which probably after this broadcast, after the finals is over, I will not be feeling so great because after how fast that I divulged, that's not even the right word to say, but just destroyed that topic.
What's that word you came up with?
Dematerialized. Let's move forward here. Just because you mention this every single broadcast.
I brought it up in a couple weeks. Dematerialization.
Dematerialization. It's a great word. Hey,
it's a very esoteric word for your lexicon, I gotta say.
Look it up on Google. It does exist. It's past tense of, not a past tense, it's like a longer version of dematerialized. So, it is a word. All right.
Oh, pushing.
Bird is the word.
Pushing and Kylixx lighting up the kill feed on the left-hand side, picking up some. And
I gotta say that really quickly. I didn't mean to cut you off. I do that quite often. I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay.
Dtrix and Rush.
I'm here.
Being defending champions, we've never seen them drop early. So this is a very interesting situation that we find ourselves in, and especially for Kylixx and for Piyushx in this situation, is that they have a very unique opportunity to be in a 2v1 situation versus a team that rarely is in this spot. And so I don't know how they're going to deal with this, right? Obviously, they're very solid players. They know when to find eliminations, but they're very good at teamwork, and they're very good at working together in unison and finding elims and rotating together. Now that it's a 1v2 situation, this is an uncomfortable spot to be in for anybody, but especially for a team that's not used to it. So I'm very curious to see what Dtrix does in this situation, how he kind of recovers, and how he fights in 1v4 spots, because that's what we constantly talk about in this, public style of format. It's difficult enough to face off against teams in 2v4 situations, but when you are by yourself, it is almost impossible when you're facing off against a team who somewhat knows what they're doing. It's about trying to cut them down, trying to find and initialize 1v1 engagements. And so that's not easy to do for many teams. It's a lot of the time based off, going towards certain locations around the map, trying to find, kind of players who are outliers, some rogue players sometimes. So we'll see what Dtrix can try to do, but by no means is this going to be easy for him, especially like you mentioned earlier with the amount of players that still remain in the game.
So we've got a little bit of downtime while these players are going to be working their way through the map. I wanted to talk to you about the new tournament mode that was just added, which they're kind of implementing a couple of changes, trying to fill out reduction of mats and all that and how that's working out. Of course, it's called the Scavenger Pop-Up. I think it's just a solo. I know I competed in it, and quite a few of the streamers that kind of tried out. You get 50 health after an elimination. If your health is full, you get 50 shield. Also, too, an interesting thing is we'll switch on board with Kylixx's perspective, see what he's going to be up to. They're in a fight. But you also get a limitation on the current mats. So I believe you only can get 500 mats for wood, metal, and brick. And on top of that, there is a faster gather time where I believe it's 40% faster. So it gets you in the fight even quicker. And which I kind of like. It speeds up the game mode. Even though there's no redeploy, the game still runs faster. And because of that, for me, I'm a huge fan of it. I love fast game types, fast gameplay, and they can also be strategic because of the limited mats. I don't know if you kind of heard about it, if you had a chance to maybe kind of look at it. I want to know your kind of opinions on it.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty excited about it. I want to hear the chat's opinions on it mostly, but it seems like a great format for the most part. I know a lot of people have been arguing and saying, you know what, we really need to see the mats be cut down. We need to see them, earn them faster, but not have the ability to carry 999 of each resource. So I didn't get an opportunity to play it, but I was watching quite a few players, kind of see how it worked out and kind of play their own, try to get as many points as they possibly could. And I was kind of surprised by the results, right? We saw quite a few players who, I think in that particular format, were playing a lot better than expected.
Right.
And so I'm really curious to see, whether or not that is solely just testing ground or whether or not that could be implemented in the future. But I think, testing out the waters and kind of seeing how certain things work is always nice. But just as I say that, come to my talking point, Dtrix will be shut down just outside of where his team had originally fell in the first place. So that's going to be all players down for the defending champions. Dtrix and Rush now have to set in the respawn screen, taking a look at Piyushx and Kylixx as they have 23 unanswered players to face off against. And from above, it looks as if Kylixx has the opportunity to face off against quite a few of those early players.
Yeah, if you're Dtrix and Rush, you're just praying that Piyushx and Kylixx get dropped at this point, but they are really a force to reckon with as they're getting knock after knock, elimination after elimination, only increasing their mats, increasing their inventory, and looking ever more solid to kind of take over this win and stop Dtrix and Rush from being a two-time champion. As I totally thought they would come in and go big, but you never know. They do have some portability there with the Porter Rift. But going back to our original point where we were kind of talking about the mats, some people saying, they want to keep it at 999 everything. Some also people saying, I think mats was a bit low. They prefer something like 750 wood, 600 brick, 500 metal. Shunted 23 saying that in the chat. Wood, obviously, less durable, so making your push is possible, maybe that's smart too. And I like the fact that they're still playing with it. 2019 is coming, and I know that's when they were going to hit competitive really hard. So for the most part, them trying things out and trying to kind of, find the best parts is is going to be good. But
it's a battle, but it's a much needed one to try to
it
fine-tune
is.
it exactly
It is.
the way that it doesn't have to be, but what it should be, right?
Because this is a unique game. This is something that's never been done before with the building aspect. So this is something that is trying to feel their way out and find how things are going to work. But I think reduction in mats would also kind of limit the turtling that we see in the competitive style, right? And that would be something hugely beneficial. But taking a break from that, Piyushx and Kylixx in a fight as they Porter Rifted on these players coming in, and Piyushx is going to have to go big at this point. Compact SMG out and not connecting enough, but finally able to get that player down. Luckily, he's still at 100 and 100 as he's going to be able to range shots and finish off the remainder of this team.
Despite being in close quarters, Piyushx did not take a bullet to the chest. That was very impressive. He was just kind of swaying back and forth, laying prone to a point, and just absolutely feasting on the players who were happened to find 2 quad crashers. So props enough for kind of convoying the way that they were, just kind of toward the northern side of Leaky Lake. But one thing that's nice, and I was kind of questioning it myself for Piyushx and Kylixx, I was saying, okay, well, why they're aggressing this is obviously nice, but due to them kind of stopping a little bit early, that could cause an issue for them to try to get in the zone. One thing that's nice is that those players have to be driving quad crashers.
Yep.
So now they have the ability to challenge that particular fight and then not be so worried about the storm, because we talked about, since the glide redeploy system is no longer implemented into the game, at least for now, you can't just build a ramp and glide around. You really kind of have to rely on those mobility tools. And from one quad crasher to the other, can that shot make it through? It looks as if it does get stopped by one of the items. Sitting as a Dusty Niner, it looks like a few players might just be testing on the ramps. And doing some X Games stuff over there, but looks as if Piyushx and Kylixx were not impressed, so they're going to go ahead and try to engage.
He actually, you notice that he trapped his teammate just down below Kylixx as I think he was just shooting some shots at him. They're going to keep pushing up. Last few remaining people there. I think that brought down the little bridge that player was using to build up, but rockets are going to be flying in, and this is a difficult situation. Kylixx is going to have players ahead of him, Piyushx as well in front of him, and they're kind of in the middle of things with the storm just to their back, and it's going to be moving in with the next 8 seconds. Kylixx is going to be stuck in the storm. Piyushx might be okay, but he's got to watch out for these players
and
just
the
below him.
well?
And there it is. Nope, it's just stopped.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be down here. Compact SMG not able to finish him off at this point. This player, good defensive builds. He's going to get up, misses the shotgun shot, and not able to connect it. And now he's going to have to go from square one, forcing himself to kind of box in, recoup, and get some reloads in. His teammate is going to get knocked after getting an elimination himself. And there it is, the full elimination coming in. And now Piyushx is going to be last alive for his team, trying to get the victory royale. Shots are being fired. I believe that's a turret off of the distance. So he's going to come in, and he manages to pick up an elimination. And this might be all he wrote for Piyushx. As you hear him, he's, what can I do? There's not a lot you can do in this situation. But, hey, he's making the most of it. Player ahead of him, just to his right. Surprised he let him get away, and yet he's not going to be able to get that, but not a bad game for Piyushx and Kylixx, looking to defeat the defending champions of Dtrix and Rush.
Yeah.
Looking very solid, and I'm curious to see the score. I think, obviously, Piyushx, Kylixx, they're going to have a lead, but I don't think it's that massive considering the fact of what it could have been. It could have got really out of hand.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what it is as well, because that's really going to kind of tell the tale of what this game should be, right? Because we were discussing and saying due to Dtrix and Rush dropping early, that gave a 23-player advantage, you could argue, right, toward the side of Piyushx and Kylixx, where they had the opportunity to kind of seek out those enemies, to seek out those players. So for Dtrix and Rush, right, they drop early. Like I said, depending on what the score is, that's going to depend on what location they try to land toward. But I think this game is by no means out of reach, right? It's only going to be 7 eliminations. I say only. That's obviously, a little, pretty much 2 squads for the most part. I don't know, right? For Dtrix and Rush, as far as their landing locations go, now that we know the score, I wouldn't say that you have to play, overly aggressive. I think you can kind of still play your game, by definition, but they still have to kind of have more aggressive tendencies, I think, to a point as well. Maybe,
which normally they did in the past.
Yeah.
I think this game was just a bit slow for them.
It might have just been kind of an oddity, but I think that kind of throws something into the game plan, because they go through, the first Sunday Showdown unscathed, right? They have a very solid performance. They take on Tendons and Sean Claude, have a pretty easy performance. They literally walk away with 25 elims after game 1.
Yeah.
Second game comes to a close very easily. No pressure. Walk away with it. We're champions. Next tournament, they seem to not really have too much of an issue. We haven't really seen them face off in too many close games. They've pretty much done the exact same thing. So when we're walking into the finals, now it's like, okay, we're not invincible, right? We aren't untouchable. We just obviously suffered a pretty big loss in that particular last game. We're down 7 elims coming into the next match. That doesn't happen very often, if often at all. So now the question remains, how are Dtrix and Rush going to perform despite having somewhat of a mountain in front of them? And how can they potentially be defending champions? They always say that the first title is the easiest. Seeking out the others is the hardest, because how do you recoup? How do you continue on with that confidence? And how can you make yourself a dynasty? It happens to be in situations like this one. As we take a look at the different landing spots the players could be going toward, we'll take a look at Dtrix's screen off the start, his teammate in the bottom right, as it looks like they're going to be going toward what has made them successful in the first place. What has made them all of this cash has been going to Dusty Diner. And I got to say, Taylor, I respect it. I respect for them to continue on with what has worked in the past, as they're going to test it out yet again.
A lot of people dropping over at retail, kind of spotting out the competition. It's going to be Dtrix trying to kind of see who's going to be around, as they're going to go ahead and go straight into the Dusty. But I don't believe anybody landed here at this point, so they're going to be uncontested. Could work in their favor or against them, depending on how the start for Piyushx and Kylixx is. Some decent loot already. Got the minigun. Could go Terminator style if he wants to. Has 6 grenades. And then he also has the blue pump. Looking pretty good. Let's see what's going to be inside this chest. And blue AR, not too bad.
Destroy so many trees with that minigun.
And not to mention the grenades, too.
Foliage.
And not to mention the grenade, too. He can literally clear out all of Wailing Woods.
Oh, he's also got a Porta Fortress. Not that does anything to the trees. But, hey, if you throw it on there, you never know. Could be something interesting. And I would love to see an event that makes the trees turn into characters. Not characters necessarily, but it turns them into
like Taco Bell.
That's a very solid point. What I'm saying is that, what if we go back to, I don't know, like Lord of the Rings style, right? And you have like the trees that can actually move around and do something. I don't know. Let them fight back for once. It has to be the Taco Bell, Taylor. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you lost me, bud. I mean, I got it. I got the reference.
All
but
I'm saying, it would be cool if the trees can move and cause someone to damage. I don't know. I'm just saying. Hey,
I don't know if
ladies
that's a good idea at all.
You take down a tree every day in Fortnite. What if they fought back? New season right there. New season.
Oh, no. If that's implemented,
the ecosystem is taken back its homeland.
Oh, my gosh. But I got to say, I don't know what is going on with you. But I want to point out, by the way, look at the ping, 170 ping. So I didn't pay attention in the first game if their ping was maybe a little bit less. But they're going to be fighting an uphill battle. Not only are they 7 eliminations down, and even more as Piyushx is going to get an elimination, they are also having to push forward and try to make that up on a very high ping.
Yeah.
Nobody was inside Dusty.
Could be European players.
Could be European players. You know, they're not – I mean, they're kitted up fairly decent, but what is it worth if you don't get eliminations? Now they're going to be pushing into – and Rush is already starting us off with an elimination. They're going into retail. Landon, we know about retail, a very difficult area to kind of conquer. There's that elimination that we saw Rush get a little bit earlier, as I believe he cleared out a team before. And that was the second one he got, so that's a full team elim. And now they're already having to push back to Dusty, wasting a lot of time.
Let's keep in mind, right, there are still plenty of players alive. This is so odd to witness, right? Because like we've been discussing throughout most of the broadcast, has been that, you know, in week 8 it was a matter of players dying really early, or really kind of throughout the entirety of the Sunday Showdown, but especially from week to week. At this point in the game, in week 8, there'd be 30 players left.
Oh,
30,
yeah.
if not 20 players left. Right now there are 60. There is a very plentiful opportunity for Rush and Dtrix to make this comeback happen. They were down 7 coming into this game, and thankfully, to a rift to go, they're going to go from one major POI to another, spotting someone fixing the roof in Salty Springs, but unfortunately for them, that will be the last task they do, at least as far as this game is considered. The thirst comes in, and that's going to be 3 elims now for Rush, living up to his name. Spotting out one, barely misses a shot. That player is, without question, down to
a
handful of HP.
Ooh.
Making his way through the construction zone.
He wants it. He wants it. He's trying to get that final bullet in his opponent, to get that elimination or at least a knock. Not able to connect enough. The bloom not working in his favor. As you hear him talking about it, but hopefully he'll be able to connect. You know, it's always so satisfying when you know that player's low and then you just keep firing, and then you finally get that knock. But finally, he's going to be coming up ahead, and this player, I guess, held up just a little bit, but finally getting the knock, and the last player is going to be right behind these builds, it looks like. Shotgun out. There it is, player just down below. That's going to be yet another knock as they're slowly making a comeback. Chug Jug in hand, and that is going to be useful in the future. But for now, there's still one more lurking, and you can hear them saying that they're going to be pushing.
Communication coming forward, and you hear that might be an assault rifle of some sort, maybe even the heavy assault rifle, as the shots begin to echo throughout Salty Springs. So taking a little bit of cover for now, and realizing that, like you said, Taylor, there are still more players to find and still more players around this area. As that Chug Jug is fully enclosed, fully taken, and that might actually be a heavy sniper that we might have just heard. Despite that, though, it looks easy pickings for Rush as he'll take that one down. And these guys, like we said, despite coming into this one with the deficit, are seeing quite a few opponents and absolutely rising to the occasion, keeping in mind on 160 ping, which is not easy to do whatsoever.
Not easy at all, but if they still want to have a chance, Piyushx and Kylixx, they need to drop. Because at this point, they came into this match 7 eliminations down. We know Kylixx was picking up some eliminations in the beginning.
I think he has at least 3. If I've been kind of counting in my head. I think he has at least 3, if not 4.
Well, with that being said, total right now for the boys of Dtrix and Rust are only sitting at a total of 8 eliminations. So they still are at least a 3 or 4 elimination deficit, maybe even more.
Wait, did I just see they're at Tilted Towers?
They are.
Okay.
Hey, look, and it's working out for them. They're getting
I'll look the other way. We'll look the other way.
Which, you know, that's a natural rotation from where they were from. Obviously, going in there, you're going to find a lot of teams transferring over, whether it be over from Shifty, maybe even from Leaky, or pushing in from Pleasant. Tilted is an area that, at least at some point during the game, you're going to get a couple teams transferring from there. If you get the high ground, you come in dominating, you'll be able to get knocks, just like Kylixx did right there on one of the players. That's going to be a knock, yet another knock. That's 2 knocks. They're still killing the game. They're looking solid.
I just don't want their luck to run out by going to a location like that. That's my only concern at this point in the match, is that when rotations are through, a lot of players have to go through that big city. All of the players have to at least visit
another knock
or examine Tilted Towers from afar. And like you said, they're absolutely running through it right now. Kylixx constantly getting involved in that kill feed. And as we can continue to survey with the only squad that we possibly can, they're just trying to spot a soul.
Yeah.
They're having a hard time seeing anyone right now.
Oh,
just as I say that, though, it looks as if one player gets dropped very, very quickly. And that was only a knock. Meaning that there are going to be teammates around here somewhere. And it looks like we do have some Shadowstone players around the position. You got to watch out for these guys sometimes. Where are they going to appear from? And it looks as if this could be a nightmare for the opponents if they're not careful. Looks like the grappler gets rocked, taking the high guard advantage back. And just like that, 2 eliminations come through it.
Yep.
However, there is still going to be 1 player left.
1 player is going to be left. You hear the shots going in. They are connecting. Player just down below. 1 more shot, and there it is. It's going to be yet another knock. So this is a squad of 4, and that's exactly what they needed to kind of match up with Piyushx and Kylixx, who picked up 4 eliminations themselves and Tilted. As we see, Dtrix is going to pick up the very last one over there just ahead of Rush there. So looking pretty solid, as I believe they just put their eliminations up to maybe a total of 10, but going neck and neck. Still plenty of eliminations remaining. 22 engagements still remaining.
That was a huge team to find.
It was.
Especially when they're not necessarily in the middle of nowhere, but that was kind of an odd rotation. Like, of all the players that are left, most of them are going to be on the total opposite side of the map. So for them to find that team of 4 to really kind of escape out of that fight pretty much unscathed, that was huge for them. And you could argue that's what seals the deal for them still being alive in this match, or even still being alive as far as the score is considered.
Well, now it's going to kind of give us a little lull as they'll just try to find where some players might potentially be, as we finally look like we have a split happening between Dtrix and Rush, which, by the way, needs to happen. You notice the score just flashed on the screen just a little bit.
We're down 3.
And, of course, we'll be getting that update very soon. But I do know at this point Piyushx and Kylixx still have the lead currently.
Every time you say Piyushx, I think Capiche.
Capisce.
I don't know why.
You understand me, capisce? Yeah.
I don't know why. It just keeps happening. It just keeps registering in my mind.
I totally get it.
I'm sure by the time that we announce whoever wins or who comes in second place, I will say capiche by accident. So, just prefacing everyone. I've talked about living trees. I don't know what's going on with me.
Taco Bell, baby.
It must be. It was great. It was delightful. That quesadilla I ate in probably about 12 seconds, but it was delicious.
I don't know what I selected for the order for the extra stuff, but hey.
Yeah.
Looking pretty.
They just kept finding the bombs.
Look at this. Got the rift. He's getting shot at. Oh, he's got to
gosh.
watch out. Of course, this is for the tournament life. This is for all the marbles. 5,000 for first place. That's what these teams are fighting it out for. 3,000 for second. But also, more importantly, Dtrix and Rush are fighting to be back-to-back champions if they take over this victory. 19-29, Landon. 19-29. It's getting to the point where it's almost mathematically impossible, as we're going to see a total of 15 eliminations remaining. If 5 or 6 kills or eliminations go down into the hands of Piyushx as well as Kylixx, it will in fact be over. Or if any of the players get eliminated, as of right now, you just see a knock going down from someone else, actually from the Storm. And Kylixx and Piyushx going to get another one. It's definitely getting out of hand. Dtrix and Rush, this might be all she wrote.
Yeah, this is uncomfortable territory. And when you're in that particular territory, that means that you have to play uncomfortable as well. You have to rush things that don't make sense. You have to literally phase head-on in 1v4 fights. You have to make something like that happen. And it looks like, thankfully for Rush, he might have spotted a team by his lonesome. However, they've spotted him as well, down to 1 HP. This could be the game right here, the nail in the coffin. If Rush ends up falling, you could pretty much call it. So a big moment for him on the edge of a mountain. And literally, if he gets sneezed on, he is done. He is out of this game. And that's going to leave his teammate in an awkward position.
No,
One player decides to sit just casually in the fight. He doesn't mind. He's a pacifist.
Ow, there it is.
But unfortunately for Rush, he ends up getting dropped.
Yep.
And now it's going to be Dtrix left in a 1v2 situation. This one is probably a kill away, an elimination away from being mathematically impossible.
Well,
just as I say that,
Piyushx
knocks another one down. And this one could be ended out. A heroic Rush toward the end for Dtrix. He knows he has to run at this one head on.
Yep.
And we'll see what he can try to do here, Taylor.
And I believe that's Kylixx, who just got another elimination. And with that being said, I think that's going to put him over the edge. Even with this knock and this full elimination, I think that's going to be all she wrote. As I do believe Kylixx and Piyushx are, in fact, going to take over this win. But watch out. A couple more eliminations are going to be coming into his hands. As another team is going to be pushing. Nice shots. As that player is going to be just down to a sliver of health. But, he didn't mean to do that. Now he's going to be off. Of course, he'll still live. But now he's got the low ground as he's forced to push up and try and regain at least some of this high ground. He's going to shoot him down. And there it is. Player's going to drop in front. He's going to get the full elimination. The last one is going to be just up ahead. And he's going to make quick work of this player, too. So that was a solid 4-piece for him.
He said, let me add a few clips to my highlight reel real
looking
quick.
Pretty solid. It puts him up to 10 total eliminations. And he's going to be looking for the last remaining players as, of course, the game, if it's not over, it's incredibly close. So every elimination is, in fact, going to matter. Keep an eye out for the elimination count on the left-hand screen. We'll have to see who else is going to be dropping. But
I believe it is officially mathematically impossible now at this point in the match. So that means, Taylor, that we have yet again another new champion.
Qualifier team.
Dtrix and Rush couldn't get it done, right? They had the opportunity to two-peat, to be the first team in Sunday Showdown history to be a repeating champion. However, it is not the case, as it will be Piyushx and Kylixx, who are your Week 9 Legion Sunday Showdown champions coming from the qualifiers. They were a qualifier #1 runner-up team. They make it through that entire tournament composed of hundreds, if not 200s of teams. They get through it, and now they are your champions. $5,000 richer. Massive props to those two. Very deserving of that championship title name.
From runner-up to champions, you couldn't write a better story. Phenomenal job from them, and they are going to defeat the opportunity for Dtrix and Rush to be back-to-back champions once again. But solid work for them, and that's going to put them even richer of $3,000 extra. but a solid showing from them was just we're just going to continue out this game. Maybe they'll get the victory royale and pad the stats just a little bit more. But, you know, I got to say it for Dtrix and Rush, very consistent, solid team. And if they make it into the bracket of the next week, they're going to look even better. But Kylixx, he's going to pick up the last eliminations to solidify it even more, to say, hey, this was our game, and we're going to take it. But what a tournament that we saw tonight, Landon. We knew it was going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And it provided just that the excitement that we needed and we wanted.
We absolutely did, buddy. Like I said,